You're listening to Moviesucktastic.
On this motherfucking plane! Now we got drinks? Oh, they free.
It all sounds like some bad movie.
All right, everybody. Mr. Wilson, are you there?
I'm here and ready.
Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
You ready to rock and roll?
Are you ready? Do you want to feel pain? Anyway, yeah, welcome to Moviesucktastic. I'm Scott, that's Joey,
Hi.
And tonight we're reviewing the Oscar-nominated film, The Power of the Dog.
Yeah, we are full into our Oscar nominees, where every year, it's our excuse to watch, quote-unquote, good movies.
Oh, yeah. Now, sometimes those opinions on what's a good movie differ, as you'll know if you watch our episode or listen to our episode on Drive My Car.
Yes. If you haven't listened to that one, please go and listen to it. Even if you're listening to this one, go listen to that one first.
Yeah.
Then coming back and listen to this one.
Because we got off to a bad start.
Scott got off to a good start. He liked the fucking thing. Me,
So,
I just wanted to repeatedly stab myself in the leg.
So this is the second Oscar film we're reviewing, and it's also the second film we're reviewing that I had no interest in watching before watching it.
Same here. Absolutely.
So,
Same here.
By the way, my background is not the half-naked Cumberbatch, because I didn't want to distract you. But the cover for YouTube will be the half-naked Cumberbatch. So.
Oh, sweet.
So, like Drive My Car, and this is something I didn't address in that review, way too much fucking nudity for me. I'm not a prude. If I want to see nudity or sex, there are plenty of places to go for that. I've got stockpiles, believe me. I mean, yeah. Hey, Steve Soderbergh, was this enough sex for you? Fuck you. And I know he just said that to trigger people and make people respond, but I still got to say something. That's the last, and that was when I was still watching.
What was that for? I think I missed that entirely.
He said he didn't like superhero films because nobody was fucking in them. Like, okay, how many other films?
Did he pretty much say it like that, or was he like beating around the really?
No, he pretty much said it like that. But it's Steve Soderbergh. I mean,
they're superhero films. They're PG-13. What does he want?
Yeah, go figure. Yeah, again, like I said, it's a non-argument. He's just looking for a headline because his films don't get that much attention.
No, Contagion did, because we actually had an infectious disease.
I don't know about you, but that's the one plot line I'm not watching anything for. If a film or show comes out, I'm like, fuck you. Last thing I'm fucking watching, blow me.
When...
Except for zombies, but that's...
Well, that's different. But when COVID hit in China, and when it hit in China, it started to gain some exposure around the world. Did you know that Contagion became like the #1 streamed movie when COVID hit in China?
I believe it, and I bet you that the streaming services were fucking pushing it.
Oh, I'm positive that they were.
Anyway, I don't want to. We don't want to get sidetracked because
Nope.
we're trying to keep the Oscar episode short.
Yes,
and I'm running out of gin.
We're trying to keep them 30 to 45 minutes max.
So we are reviewing The Power of the Dog, 2021 film. It's up for Best Picture and a few others, and it's actually one of the big ones, right? It's like
this is.
Sleepers.
I want to say it's up for 12. I think this got the most nominations.
It's one of those. Yeah, it's one of the big ones.
12 Oscars, which pretty much puts it as the forefront.
Yeah.
Favorite to win.
So right.
We can go over all these nominees too, because there's a lot of them.
Yeah. So the movie is an adaptation of a 1967 Western novel, and it really shows because I did not read the novel that this is based on. However, I have read Western novels, and there's some really good ones in that time period. I mean, that's really when when the good ones are out there. And again, I'm not an expert on Western novels of that time period. I just play one on TV.
There you go.
Right, but
so I'm going to say this right now.
Spoilers.
Well, there are going to be spoilers.
Oh, this one specifically. If you haven't seen it, what the fuck are you watching a review about it?
Yeah.
Turn the fuck off, idiot. Idiot.
Whether people enjoy this film or not, Benedict Cumberbatch, he is fucking great in this movie.
Yeah, because it's Benedict Cumberbatch.
But like just even the way he speaks, like he's talking to his brother, and he's like, you know what today is, and his brother's like, I'm not sure, 25 years. What? 25 years? He's like, back 1900 and nothing.
Yeah.
And because the movie takes place in 1925, but he didn't have to say it like that, but he does, and I found myself just completely enthralled, and just anytime he spoke and anytime he did anything on screen.
I would be someone to point out that was probably a scripted line, so I would give him full credit for that.
I'm not giving no. I'm not giving him credit for that. I'm not saying he improvised. I'm saying that he acted, but he was given the lines, made you care about what he said.
Let me end this with one question.
Yeah.
Name one bad performance by Benedict Cumberbatch.
No, I got none.
There, so we're done with that. Moving on.
Come on.
No, I agree with you. No, he's fucking awesome in this, but he's awesome in everything. It's almost boring talking about how awesome he is. Actually, I did not like him as. I
know who you're going to say. Star Trek.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't like him. I didn't like him as Khan. No.
But I didn't hate him as Khan.
No, I did. Miscast totally as Khan. Didn't care for it. No. But that's not his fault.
No.
Anyway, So take it away, sir.
So the film. So what was it? Romulus, Phil, and his brother's name? George.
Phil and George.
Phil and George. They are very successful, wealthy ranchers who learned how to do this stuff from a character who you're introduced to from the beginning, named
Bronco Henry.
Henry Bronco.
No,
Bronco Henry. Bronco Henry.
And I thought I was going to fuck it up.
Yeah. Well, I'm a self-diagnosed dyslexic. Sorry.
No. But honestly, like every time I went I was like, I'm going to say Bronco Billy. I'm going to say Bronco Billy. I'm going to say Bronco Billy. But no, Bronco Henry. Bronco Henry.
So he taught Phil and George how to ranch, how to be, how to cowboy, how to be ranchers, and how to do it successfully, and how to do it well and make money, which is exactly what they did. George owns the entire. All of it, the ranch, like everything, and
they both kind of do, and they're
well, they do. They both do,
and they're taking it, and it's being handed down to them from their parents.
Right. I mean, like you could tell that they're wealthy because it's 1925 and George drives a car,
right?
It's a luxury item that most people did not have at that time period.
Yeah, well, it's the whole cattle baron. That time,
and it's 1925 Montana.
Right.
But also, Phil, Benedict Cumberbatch's character, he berates George at any chance he gets. They're brothers.
He's a bully. He's a bully.
Very much so. I mean,
rough, crass, your typical.
He berates him any chance he gets. He calls him fatso probably 10 times during this movie. And 5 of those times is probably in the first 10 minutes.
It's a term of endearment.
Of course, yeah. You know, it happens.
Right.
So the story goes that they're herding some cattle, and they end up at like a pub / watering hole, whatever you want to call it. And George is taken with the owner, Rose, which is played by Kirsten Dunst. And, of course, Phil immediately is just rude to everyone. At one point, they're singing and dancing on the piano, which is the shot that Scott has in his background, where he's like, "You stop that music or I will." And it's just very powerful.
He openly mocks Rose's effeminate teenage son.
Right.
What's his fucking name? Peter.
Pete. Yep. Mocks him.
He with the greasy hair and the serial killer eyes.
That comes into play later. Spoiler alert. This is also written and directed by Jane Campion, which was adapted from this novel of the same name, though? Or is it called something else?
I don't... if it's important, I'll look it up. But I don't know.
It might have it in...
I know...
Thomas Savage, based... I think the novel it's got the same name.
The same name.
Yeah, yes it is.
Yeah, I would have to do with it.
Yeah.
And let me say, I'm biased in this, but knowing that it's adapted from a 60s Western novel makes me appreciate it more. I don't want to sound sexist or bigoted or stupid, but I'm going to. Because I looked at Jane Campion's past films. I think the biggest one of note would be The Piano.
Yes.
And it's not my genre.
Same here. I respect the films that she makes. You know, I do.
I won't go that far, but I'll say.
But
I'm not saying she's a bad director or anything.
No. It's not my cup of tea.
Right. So this film, I wasn't looking for. I didn't want to see it. I briefly read the description. The description doesn't really clue you into the film, though. It makes it sound a bit more like a romance.
It also makes it sound. Well, here, this is the description, and I'm going to read the description, and then I'm going to explain it. So the description is charismatic rancher Phil Burbank, because they also talk about how he's Harvard educated.
All right.
Okay. Charismatic rancher Phil Burbank inspires fear and awe in those around him. When his brother brings home a new wife and her son, Phil torments him until he finds himself exposed to the possibility of love.
Yeah, romantic triangle, right?
Right. So you're thinking it's Phil, it's his brother George, and Rose.
Right. They don't even mention it's just So it's totally misleading, and I never saw the trailer. I didn't bother. I prefer to do that because I like to go in blind.
Me too.
I have to say, the one film that kept popping up in my head while watching this, especially at the end, was The Beguiled.
Is that Clint Eastwood?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
I'm not saying it's similar, but it just kept, for me, that film kept coming up in my brain when I was watching this. So George the main focus on the film is loneliness.
Yeah.
Loneliness. What else? Honestly, I'm surprised. We paired. We record 2 episodes a night for Oscar season because 10 fucking Best Pictures, and we paired Drive My Car with Power of the Dog. And holy shit, they're both about relationships, communication, lack of communication. But this one has a bit more of that repressed.
Right. I mean, we initially paired them because we just assumed that Power of the Dog was going to be this romantic,
they both involve
kind
wives.
of struggle. Yeah, and they both involve wives. And then Drive My Car, it was, he loses his wife, and it's just like, we're like, okay, this is a good match. But you're right, it is more of a match than we expected. I
think my specific reasoning was, in Drive My Car, he loses a wife. In Power of the Dog, he gains a wife. So, sometimes you got to stretch those last couple of connections.
Yeah.
So, the main characters are Cumberbatch. George, his brother, is important for contrast, but he's not really an important character.
Right. I mean, he's a rancher.
That's Beth Damon, who of course is actually married to Blanchett.
Yeah, Jesse Plemons is the actor's actual name, but he's a rancher and he does everything well. But you can tell that his brother Phil is just better at everything.
Also, between the two of them, Phil like thrives in this whole idea of masculinity and rough work, and like that's what he's into. Phil, however, has kind of gotten, but George, however, has kind of gotten beyond that, and he feels lonely. He's like,
Right.
He wants a wife. He wants to meet people. He wants to do things. He wants to have dinner parties, and Phil's like, yeah, I want to castrate a steer with my bare hands.
Well, you don't wear gloves? Well, it's not necessary.
Don't need them.
I love that line when he goes back and forth with George. He goes, castrate 1,500 head. You nick your thumb on the last one. I thought that was just a great, yeah, of course. It was just a great line.
Yeah. No.
But yes, absolutely foreshadowing. But then,
I have no doubt that most of the dialogue is directly from the novel. I hope I'm right because
I wouldn't. Well,
knowing
Jane Campion, it is.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not that familiar with her work, so.
No, she's pretty good at adapting. You know, again, her work is not my cup of tea, but I can respect it.
It actually shows because, like, it's good.
Yeah.
And it feels like it was written that time period. So the other two main characters are George is really the catalyst that brings them into the world. Is Rose, his wife, and her effeminate, creepy teenage son, Pete. So the triangle isn't between Phil, George, and Rose. It's between Phil, Pete, and Rose.
Yes.
Now, all right.
So, hold on. So George marries Rose.
Correct.
So they meet at her place, and George gets.
He does it. He does it secretly. He doesn't even tell Phil.
He doesn't tell her. Tell him.
Phil's not going to like it.
No, Phil doesn't like a lot of things.
Well, Phil is obviously Phil's jealous because he's losing his brother,
right?
Who's drifting away from his way of life, and at the same time, he's also jealous about the relationship because he's a big gay cowboy. That's the thing I did not expect coming into the film was the gay cowboy thing. So it was a surprise.
That's a way to put it.
Yeah,
I wouldn't.
What other way? We've been here. We've been in gay cowboy territory before.
Yeah, I get that, but
yeah,
wow,
so
it's just
not big.
such a crude way to Anyway.
What? He's a big gay cowboy.
Okay, well, let's go back to what you told me in the last episode. Anyhow, so he's taken with Rose, but also because Phil insults his son, which you mentioned earlier. George hears her crying while he's in his room, and he consoles her. And the next day, she's preparing food, but Pete's not around, so he helps her out with dinner service and all that stuff. And then you could see that's where things start, where he starts to fall for her.
Right.
But the term "you drive me to drink" comes actually into play in this movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because right. Phil, he's such an asshole, and he's just so rude and just so tormenting towards Rose because he feels that she is like you mentioned stealing his brother and is jealous of the love affair that they have and all of that.
Yeah, I mean he's jealous because his brother is able to achieve something he cannot.
Correct.
Right, and that's also the reason why he outwardly taunts and belittles and bullies the effeminate son because it's lashing out at something that he has to deny himself. And
right.
There's a bit of jealousy in that too, I believe.
Right.
The jealousy of that, that this kid can act the way he does when I can't.
Yeah, and so
there's a lot going on.
Because earlier in the film she talks because people come into her establishment for food and they drink wine and she's very against drinking, and what ends up happening is Phil torments her so much she becomes an alcoholic.
Right.
Of like a really bad one where she spends an entire summer in the house and she's coherent so seldom.
Right. So, spoiler alert again. I just gotta say it sometimes. I feel like,
Yeah.
if you're that stupid at this point, stop it. But anyway, spoiler alert.
You call our listeners stupid?
What?
You just call our listeners stupid?
No, I'm saying if you're listening to this and you're so shocked that we're spoiling stuff, you're stupid. That's all.
Okay.
Basically anybody that hears me say spoiler and goes like, oh, what? But my biggest complaint about the film,
Yes.
opening voiceover.
So
What the fuck is that about?
what
It tips the hand of the whole movie.
it does.
It does horribly. Horribly. What fucking psycho? Actually, no, it was Jane Campion. Sorry. Why would she do that?
She does it because I feel at that point in time, because the son is talking about how he wants to make his mother happy.
Right, you've already given away the ending.
Not in that exact second.
No, you have. You've
Because
given
if
away
you-
the ending.
Well-
You've given away- because I know he's going to do something to protect his mother. You've already fucking given that. You've already given up the fucking big reveal at the end. You've given it up.
You don't know that immediately, though.
You kind of it directs your focus to expect an out. It sets expectations.
It does. I mean, listen.
does.
Listen,
It is
when I heard it in the beginning, it's like, okay, obviously this is going to come into play in some way, but it does steer you in a direction towards the end of the film. Not that, listen, I was expecting it like the way this movie ended. I really was. When he cut his hand open, and when the kid did not offer to sew it up because he's studying to be a surgeon.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that's a pretty deep gash. And he's like, doesn't offer. It's like, yeah, I can sew that up easy. Like, doesn't offer it. I'm like, okay. Like, I understood because
Yeah.
throughout the movie, the son, like, he gets a rabbit, shows it to the mom, and she's like, oh, it's so cute, blah, blah, blah. And then later on, you find out, not too much later on, like a couple of scenes later, you find out that he's dissected this thing. And the mom is like, oh, you can't do that in the house. He goes, listen, I'm going to be a surgeon. I need to do these things. In today's day and age, if your child is finding animals and or roadkill and is dissecting them, that is a clear sign that they may be a serial killer.
What's wrong with that? See, I loved the scene where they get the rabbit and it's got a broken leg and Cumberbatch is like, yeah, guess you'll have to put put out his misery, and he's expecting him not to do it, and he's like consoling it. Then you hear the click, and his face is like, holy shit!
What the fuck?
It's like, dude, that wasn't your clue. Yeah, so you're exposed to this kid who's very silent and very quiet and very in his head. But early on, you show that he has a great affection for his dead father, and without the fucking voiceover at the beginning, he has a great affection and concern for his mother, and that
Right.
he's also, quite gay. Not that that's a bad thing, but it's obviously that's
No,
why the French
obviously
pick on
not a
him,
bad thing.
and that's why Cumberbatch picks on him. So,
Well, the thing is, too, when Cumberbatch... So what happens... So if you I know we're jumping around a lot, but the kid finds this, like, little cavern, and there's all these,
Benedict Cumberbatch's secret spank cave.
Yeah, I was getting to that.
Sorry.
Which a bunch of the magazines say Bronco Henry on them, so they were his magazines, which then Phil has basically inherited. And there's a scarf that belonged to Bronco Henry, which he's like rubbing on his face affectionately, and then starts masturbating.
That's one of the slides in the slideshow.
Yes, it is. So I mean, you get the notion
At this
that
point,
he loved Bronco Henry more than just a mentor.
Right. By the time you get to the waterhole sequence, which, oh, by the way, we can file the power of the dog under. Watch this if you want to see Cumberbatch's dick.
Listen, if you're in a Jane Campion film, it's pretty much
You're
the
showing
law.
your dick, yeah.
It's pretty much the law.
You know, compared to how much Harvey Keitel showed his, this is nothing in comparison.
Correct.
I give you that.
But you got to show it in some way, even a little bit.
Right. But basically, once you get to Cumberbatch caressing his face with Bronco Henry's scarf in the shade, it's like we're into big gay big gay cowboy territory, and you know this is going to be an underlying theme in the. We haven't come this far just for that, just to ignore this. So we know we've now thrown a common denominator into the mix between him and Pete.
Right.
Right. And so this is where we see it. This is where you start to feel for him. Because up to this point, you're just like, yeah, he's a fucking dick. But now he's like, yeah.
Pete finds his stash and then wanders out and sees Cumberbatch bathing in the water with the scarf tied around his neck, and Phil scares Pete away. He's like, get out of here, But then after that, he realizes that Pete has seen a side of him that nobody else knows.
Right.
So befriends him.
Right. So just to clarify, so there's like 5 acts in the film, and there's each act is separated by a space of time. So in between the time where Cumberbatch chases Pete away from his secret spank cove, and when he starts to try to befriend him,
right.
This is the time period in which he starts going to college and he's back for the summer.
Right.
So Pete is now out in the world. He's actually doing things. He's at college and he's coming back, and he and his mother hate Phil. So Phil's suddenly like, "Hey, we got off on the wrong foot. Let's make friends." And Phil's like, "Oh," and Pete's like, "Oh yeah, this is going to end in your death."
Well, because the thing is too, Phil offers to make him a rope,
right?
Which kind of alludes to at certain points, especially when they're going out on these trips and the heavy, orchestral music is playing. It's like he's going to hang this kid, but probably not.
Oh, yeah, there was one point where I thought he was going to hang him. Yeah.
Yeah. So
he mentions finding his father hung too, and I was like, "Oh, is that going to come up somewhere?"
Right. So I mean, that's all strategically put in there to kind of move you away from where the
right.
movie is actually going to go.
Right. And here's where I'm going to give Jane Campion, even though it's adapted, so it's not really. I haven't read the source material, so I don't know who to give credit to, but I'm going to give it to her. Why not? The other guy's dead. When he takes Pete out on their little sojourn together,
right?
So we can try to bond with him. They have a brief segmented discussion about what life is, and Phil says that Bronco Henry told him that life was patiently enduring what life gives you. And then Pete says, my father told me obstacles and how to remove them. And that right there is the whole fucking film.
Yeah.
I mean,
it really is.
They both summed themselves up in that moment, and they both warned each other. This is what I do. And he's like, this is what I do. and it's a beautiful scene. It's a great scene.
Yeah.
I ended up enjoying this film and respecting this film. Something I didn't expect because I thought it was just a stupid fucking love triangle. And something that irritates me is the more and more I think these days about historical romance novels. What the fuck are women thinking? Oh, the pirate, so romantic. Yeah, you know how stinky it is living for 6 months on a boat and dying of scurvy? Are you fucking insane? Scotland, the 17th century. Yeah, it's great. Your life expectancy is in the mid-30s. What the fuck?
Yeah, and just think about...
And no one bathes. No one bathed before the 19th century.
Yeah, no.
All right? Just fact. Before the 1900s, nobody bathed. That's it. Yeah, sporadically, but as a whole, if you do the math, it's not even negligible.
No. It wasn't even...
Right.
It might have been a once every 2 months kind of thing.
So this is my attitude going into this film. I was... And
I mean, that even comes to play in the movie because George goes to Phil. He goes, listen, I'm having the mayor. I'm having mom and dad. they refer to them as the old lady, and I think the old man, but and of course, the mayor's wife, and George tells Phil, he goes, "Listen, there's no easy way to say this." He goes, "Would you just spit it out, your talker?" It's just really good lines that he did really well.
Well, again, and they resonate where I feel like they are authentic to the novel from the 60s. I really don't think they changed much dialogue.
Probably not. So then George basically says, "Listen, she's probably not going to be, too thrilled if you don't come to the table washed." And then later on, George goes to find Phil, and he's like, "We're all waiting for you. We're waiting, for your conversation." And he said, "I'm not coming." And he goes, "What am I going to tell them?" "You could tell them that I don't like to bathe and I enjoy the stink." So he basically goes back and says something else, but it's like lines like that. It's just like, yeah, I don't want to bathe.
The first, the beginning of the film, the first time that those two talk, it's through a door, which shows the separation of the two brothers.
Right.
And also, in that, and it just occurred to me now how much it shows that whole opening scene is masterfully supposed to show the two different characters and what's separating them, literally a wall at this point. But Cumberbatch is like dirty playing the banjo, and Meth
Rose.
Damon is in the bathtub.
Oh, right.
Right. So I forget what he called it, like an indoor pond or something weird like that.
Oh.
I just tried looking it up and I can't find it. But I don't remember. But it was something. It was something very Beverly Hillbillies. Because he asked Cumberbatch through the doors. He ever basically asked him, "You ever used the bathtub?" He was like, "Nah." And that was the end of the conversation.
He didn't call it like the watering something, did he?
It was something like the indoor pond, something weird like that. I forget now, and my mind has probably already twisted it into a fucking Hillbillies thing. But that just really communicates the whole point of them. I mean, there's that one scene where that's when you see Cumberbatch's dick is when he's like rubbing his body with mud.
Yeah.
But the film's great in showing. The characters, the dialogue's very authentic. The characters really shine. Kate Blanchett is a mess the entire fucking film.
It's not Kate Blanchett. It's Kirsten Dunst.
Same thing.
Not the same thing.
Roughly.
Really not.
There's like two scenes where she's washed. Everything else, she looks like death warmed over.
She's
bless her for that.
She's a fucking like a bad alcoholic.
Right. Well,
like hiding alcohol around the house.
Well, I think Kristen Dunst is the one. I've read it somewhere that her or somebody else had said that they wanted a defining moment of when she becomes an alcoholic. And it's that one scene after he breaks up the party and he makes fun of her for not being able to play the piano that well.
Oh, right.
And after everybody leaves, she just grabs that drink and and from that point, it's the lost weekend. Bottles are hidden everywhere. She's out in the fucking wood bin. And so, I mean, and Cumberbatch is really he's good at playing a complex character, and this is a very complex character. You really you hate the guy at the same time that you feel for him because you know why he's lashing out at her, but at the same time, he makes her an alcoholic, and then complains to everybody that she's an alcoholic.
Right.
Dick move. So and he is smarter than everybody else.
Oh, very
Pretty
much so. Yeah.
But and he's used to that.
Except the kid.
Well, that's why he totally fucking, and they do that two times where the kid surprises him. The one time was with the rabbit, and the other time is with the
mountainside.
Mountainside thing, which was honestly beautifully shot scene. It's one of the slides. I thought it was a great scene.
Oh yeah, no.
But it's like he doesn't realize he is underestimating Pete the same way that everybody else underestimates him.
Yeah, and that's probably why he's more drawn to him.
I think it's the gay thing. really, more than anything.
Oh my god.
No, seriously, I'm not. I'm not
Well,
kidding. It's a
yes,
gay
no,
thing.
I,
right.
Well,
So he doesn't realize this kid's
well,
smarter than
well,
him.
because also the parallel between him and Bronco Henry is pretty much the same. When Bronco Henry was, mentoring him, he was about the same age as Pete. That's what he told him.
Oh yeah, as far as the age difference.
So he
and all
sees
that, yeah.
the similarities in that too. That
Well, yeah.
Bronco Henry took him under his wing.
He wants
He's
to do the same
attempting to do the same thing with Pete.
Yeah, right. What he doesn't realize is that Pete is already, and also that same scene where they're under the tree talking that I mentioned before with their how they view the world. There's that one part where he's talking about his dead father, and Pete says, "Yeah, he was afraid I was I wasn't
kind. I wasn't.
No.
I was too kind and not strong enough.
Too strong. No.
Too strong.
My
That's
father
right.
said
Too strong.
He was afraid I was too strong. I was not kind enough, and I was too strong." And Cumberbatch is like, "Father got that one wrong." It's like, dude. And then he looks at him like, "You know what I do?"
You're gonna find out.
Yeah. So I mean, it's the film's, and that's why I despise that opening voiceover, because it really just takes all the power. Just like Drive My Car, another similarity between these two. The films inadvertently just take power away from the film by foreshadowing for us like we're fucking morons. Both films, both of them lose their 10-star ratings specifically for that reason.
Well, first one for a different reason for me.
That's the first star off. That's the first star off. Okay, give me some credit. All right. Yeah. So.
All right. So let's fast forward to.
Doodly.
I guess we're fast forwarding pretty much to the big reveal.
Right. So everything feeds on each other. So he's gotten under Rose's skin so much that when some Indians come by looking for pelts, she gives away her hide. She gives away all the hide because everybody says, well, he just burns it when he's done. But they don't know that he's really, really passionate about making this fucking rope for the kid. So when he comes back and finds out, he blows up. And I want to underline here, and I hope you agree with me on this.
Okay.
Earlier in the film, the kid by himself comes across a cow with anthrax, bleeding asshole for the Oscars, and cuts out a huge section
of hide.
The hide.
Wearing gloves, by the way.
Wearing gloves because he knows it's anthrax.
Yeah.
Right. And so.
The scene is on the screen right now. Could not have timed that better.
So, please, I'm sure you agree with me that even though he does that then, the murder is not premeditated.
No, he planned to do it a different way, I'm sure.
Well, what I'm saying is during the sequence, he's actually coming to understand Phil as well. I mean, Pete's coming around a bit as far as like he knows who this person is to an extent. But when they come back and they find out the hide's gone, Phil's ready to flip, and he's like trying to get George to divorce Rose and everything. And you see Pete outside pacing back and forth and staring at the hide and stuff, and that's when it clicks. Like, I have to do this.
Yeah. No. It's a turning moment.
Right. So it's not like this was all planned. It's not like, from stage one, this was going to happen. But that's the turning point where it's like, okay, now I got to fucking end this. And everything after that is so suspenseful because you know what's happening.
Right.
And again, it's all done through direction. I mean, the dialogue explains a lot of stuff, but Jane Campion has taken a book and she's translated it to the screen, and she's communicating stuff through the visual that is not described orally. I know that sounds like a stupid simplification, but like that scene where he comes back, so the kid leaves, he looks at the hide, and then he comes back in a short while later with rubber gloves on, and he takes one off, and it's like I think it's the first time he's really touched Phil.
Right.
And they really close in on that, and so it shows like the emotion involved. But you know what he's fucking doing. It's masterfully shot.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Obviously, the dead giveaway is wearing gloves. Around the animal that is obviously diseased, and then B, wearing gloves when he's handling the hide as well. So once the hide is taken off, if it was not a diseased animal, you wouldn't have to wear gloves. But the fact that he is, it gives that that notion that he's up to something.
Yeah, and it's also how the film explains at the end what happened without a single word.
Exactly. Although the opening dialogue brings it full. I know you don't like it, but you got to remember it's in there. It's in there for people who listen. We can spot things. We can spot things, and it's like, listen, I could watch. Someone could tell me something about a movie, and I'd be like, shit, you said too much. Now I know exactly what's going to happen.
Much like
hearing the opening dialogue, we were both like, something's going to happen. Like, it's just when we don't know when, but we heard the opening narration. We're like, okay, I get it. Something is happening from this.
Much like sleeping with somebody underage.
What?
Ignorance is not an excuse.
Oh.
All right?
Oh my God.
You cannot understand why the opening's bad, but it doesn't make it right.
Well, no, of course not.
That's all I'm saying. If it doesn't bother you, great. But it bothers the shit out of me because it's not needed there, and it detracts from the film. We've had this conversation in the past about. It could have been worse. They could have taken the middle of the film and shown it first, or the ending and shown it first. You know that trick. It's lazy. For Jane Campion to throw that in there, I feel it's lazy. I don't know. I don't like it. No 10 for you.
No 10.
But seriously, I didn't cry at the end like I did with Drive My Car. But the end was also. Did you catch? I don't know if it was it probably was intentional. Did you catch how when he leaves the house, it's the first time you ever see him in a suit, and it looks like he's dressed for a funeral?
Yes, I did notice that. I'm like, oh man, he's dressed to the nines.
Yeah. No, beautiful direction in this film. We've talked it to death. The Oscars that it's up for. Do you want to run down that list?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so we have best performance by an actor in a supporting role, which is
whoa. Best
what?
Picture.
Oh, I was just going to go down in alphabetical order.
Oh,
all right.
Sorry.
We can do best picture first.
I apologize. I withdraw the complaint. Please continue.
Cody Schmidt McPhee, which is Pete the Kid. Best adapted screenplay, Jane Campion. Mm-hmm. Best achievement in directing, Jane Campion. Mm-hmm. Best what?
I believe this. This is also only the first or second time. I think it's the first time that a female director has been nominated for Best Picture twice.
Oh, really?
Something like that. There's a lot of firsts this year, because the elderly white gentlemen's club is finally acknowledging that they got to start giving. After what's his face was a fucking asshole to his ex-wife, when she won for
to James Cameron.
Yeah,
Hurt Locker.
That douche nozzle. Oh, this year I guess a woman had the win. No, this year the best director won, asshole. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, because his film Avatar was up against hers that year, 2009,
and his film was shit.
And didn't he also say something stupid like it would have been better if it had CGI in it or it was 3D?
No,
didn't he say something dumb about that for the Hurt Locker?
He basically said this year they had to give it to the low tech film or in the female film because last year they gave it to the. It's like, dude, just be. When these fucking guys open their mouths and the shit comes out.
It probably didn't help that.
It's why I don't.
Catherine Bigelow was his ex-wife.
No, it definitely didn't help. But that's why I don't follow entertainment news. Because what is it? It's just assholes.
Yeah.
Asshole, and occasionally a nice guy you feel bad for.
Right.
Like Alan Tudyk,
Yeah.
Alex Tudyk, whatever.
Tudyk.
Tudyk. The guy with the weird last name that everybody likes. Yeah. I'm sorry, but continue.
But you don't like him?
No, I love him.
Oh.
How do you not love him?
I love him. I think he's great.
He's one of the few actors that you're not scared you're gonna find out he was banging 14-year-olds or something.
He's got that show.
Jesse Franco broke a lot of fucking hearts. I'm sorry.
James, not Jesse.
Same thing.
Sure. He's in that show, that Alien, that Martian.
Jesse Franco's an Italian director of exploitation horror. Sorry.
Yeah. He's in that. What is it? The Alien.
Resident Alien.
Resident Alien.
Yeah, great show.
I haven't watched any of it, but I've DVR'd all of them.
Oh, it's funny as shit. Definitely. Yeah. Yeah, you're on the right track.
So it's up for Best Motion Picture of the Year.
Yep.
And there is 5 producers. If it wins, 5 people are getting statues. That's crazy that there's that many producers for this.
Has a lot of knickknacks.
Yeah.
What else?
Best performance by an actor in a supporting role.
The creepy kid, right?
Jesse Plemons. No, the movie has 2 Best Supporting Actors.
Meth Damon's not getting an Oscar for this film. I'm sorry.
No,
I like him as an actor. I'm not mocking him by using that name. I just think it's more appropriate than his real name.
Right. Best performance by an actor in a leading role. Benedict Cumberbatch.
I haven't seen. Between right now so far, he's my shoo-in choice.
Yeah.
Because everyone fucking loves him.
Although I did watch King Richard, and Will Smith is excellent in it.
Will Smith's excellent in everything except Gemini Man. So
that movie, that's Ang Lee, right?
Probably
Ang Lee.
Wait, shitty action film made in America by?
Yeah.
No, it's probably Ang Lee. You can show that alongside the fucking Hulk film. Thanks, Ang. Yeah, you made Chow Yun Fat fly. That was pretty much the last good thing you did.
Wait, was that Ang Lee?
Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon? No, that wasn't Ang Lee.
No.
Was it?
No.
Yeah, that was Ang Lee.
Wait, that was Ang Lee?
Yeah, that was Ang Lee.
No, that was Ang Lee.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
It wasn't Chewie Hark.
No.
Yeah. All right, that was all for your 80s martial arts fans. Now let's move on to the
Everyone's
real
like,
people.
What? Who? So, I've seen King Richard. Will Smith is excellent in it. He's overdue, way overdue.
I don't want to...
Listen, I'm not making the prediction now because I haven't seen them all yet, but I would not be one bit surprised if Will Smith won Best Actor this year. Really, I would not be. He was excellent in King Richard. He makes that movie enjoyable.
You know what? He's not retiring anytime soon.
No.
Let the guy let him earn his fucking Oscar. Okay?
Best performance by an actress in a supporting role, Kirsten Dunst. Best achievement in production design. Best sound.
Production design is probably going to be up for. Sound, I haven't a clue.
Nah, sound usually goes to a superhero movie.
Yeah.
Best achievement in cinematography. Probably.
Yeah. It's definitely worthy of that nomination.
Yeah.
Beautifully shot film.
Best achievement in film editing.
Haven't a clue.
And best achievement in music written for a motion picture or original score, which I thought the score on this was really good. I really did. I thought that it set up scenes like music. It set up scenes really well.
It was functional. I'm not, but I nothing about it blew me away. But again, music's not my thing.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, when I do my ballot, I'll like I always do. I will really consider everything. So those are all 12 nominees. I mean, it's the front runner. It's the favorite. It's got the most nominations.
It is, again, yeah. What do you want to rate this?
I'd be fine with a solid 8 on this.
Really? But Drive My Car? You wouldn't
Fuck
go 8?
that movie.
Sorry, I did. Sorry, too soon.
Dude,
too soon.
anything after Drive My Car is a goddamn masterpiece.
Shouldn't have brought it up. Sorry. Too soon.
I'd drive my car over a fucking cliff if I had to watch that one again.
There we go. I can't argue against an 8. It's a great film.
I mean, if you wanted to talk me into a 9, I think I'd be fine.
You know what?
But I think
for that opening line.
I think it's a listen. This is what I explained to Mare because Mare was supposed to watch it with me and she didn't. Because the synopsis was love story, and she was like, "Oh, she loves the piano and she likes Jane Campion, so she'll probably enjoy this film anyway." But I told her, I said, "Listen, it's a good movie." I don't think you'll love it, but I think you'll watch it and maybe you won't care to watch it again. I was like, you're going to be somewhere in the middle. You're not going to hate it, obviously. What are you talking about? It's too good a movie. But I told her, I don't think you're going to love it either.
Joey, he emotionally tortures a woman through the entire film. It's a Lifetime movie of the week. She'll love it.
We'll see.
All right, but I agree with you. I would say I'm okay with an 8. Wow. The average review is 6.9.
Yeah, pretty low.
A lot of guys out there weren't expecting to see his dick.
On Rotten Tomatoes, it's a 93% on the critics side.
I definitely see that.
And it's 81% on the audience score. So it's, I mean, listen.
I kind of would you consider this an art house film? I would.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Anything by Campion is pretty much art house.
Yeah. So again, art house films, your critics and your audience generally are going to agree because usually they're the same people.
Right.
They're the same type of mindset. You're not dealing with other films where you have a critic and then you have the average person who doesn't think like a film critic.
Exactly.
So anybody that watches art house films is going to think more critically about films. It's not about smart or dumb. It's just about how you approach a film. Passive viewer or active viewer. That's all.
Mm-hmm. And this is
no bad guys.
This
no
is
bad guys. Except James Cameron. James Cameron.
He's a dick.
Yeah.
And of course, he's fucking such a charmed life as far as the movies that he makes.
Yeah.
Avatar comes out, which, by the way, is the last movie he fucking made. And then the last movie he made before that was 12 years earlier with Titanic.
Well,
so
because they're still working on Avatar 2, 3, and 4.
And 5. And here's the thing. He will have made 3 movies in 25 years.
I want James Cameron to go the same way I want Elon Musk to go. Except Elon Musk would be in space and James Cameron would be underwater in one of his little Titanic searching pods, but they'd both end the same way. They look at the camera, you hear something crack, and they go, what the? And then black. And that's the last time anybody sees him.
But
no problem with that scenario.
Where I was
boycotting the news, so if that happens, please tell me.
I will let you know.
But
here's the thing. Cameron, he releases Avatar in 2009, makes $3 billion, breaks all the records, #1 movie, most ticket sales, like ridiculousness. Mm-hmm. Okay. Then Avatar 2 is going to come out, and not that it's going to break all those records, but it's going to make a fuck ton of money because he's going to release it, which will be beneficial to him and the film's release. Releasing Spider-Man in December, right before a COVID surge, was a pretty bold move by Sony, and it made almost $300 million its opening weekend.
If Cameron actually hired some screenwriters for this second one, maybe it'll be good. I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
If I saw the first one in the theater, I got to at least watch the second one.
Oh, well, of course. That was the dawn of this podcast too. I think that was like episode 7 or something.
Oh yeah, it's one of the early ones. Yeah.
But I believe Avatar 2 is coming out. Is it coming out in 2022? Is it coming out this Christmas?
Don't care.
Listen, COVID numbers are way down.
All I know is Death of the Nile's coming out, and I'm stoked, and that's all I care about.
Well, COVID numbers are way down, and I'm just so happy that they are for when the Batman comes out in 2 weeks.
I'm never going into a theater again. Unless someone wants me to watch a film with them, I just don't enjoy having people around me anymore. I'm done. That's it. I'm done.
Well,
done.
I mean, you're supposed to be wearing a mask the whole time.
It's not the mask. It has nothing to do with the virus. It just has to do with fucking people.
Oh, I see.
It's just the people. I'm not afraid to get sick. I'm afraid of these fun fucking people talking to me or something. But that's me.
Well, we got tickets for the Batman, and we're doing it. We're doing it the Saturday, and we're doing the AMC dine-in. So it's the big seats, and the seats are far apart from each other. So I'm looking forward to seeing
We-
all 3 hours of the Batman.
My wife, my son, and I went to see Scream at a dine-in theater, and it cost me like fucking $90.
Jesus Christ. Dude.
They're ordered like 3 or 4 things off the menu. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Get a popcorn.
Let me tell you something.
Let's get the chicken. Let's try the. It's like, God damn it.
We
And I wasn't gonna get anything because
Right.
like they bring you popcorn in bowls, but then Holly ordered popcorn and it came in a bag. I was like, oh fuck, now I have to order popcorn.
the AMC dine-in for the Batman, it's a 12:30 showing. It's actually the first showing of that Saturday, so it's a matinee. Even though it's 12:30, it's a little late for a matinee for my old school days of going to the movies, but I'll take it. I'm paying $10 to see this movie, and my kids are paying $8. I'm only paying $36 to see the Batman. So I was blown away. I'm like, shit, gotta go see a $200 million movie for $36.
I'm honestly pretty much convinced that I will never leave the house of my own free will again.
Oh,
It will only be at the behest of others.
okay.
I'm sorry, that's just me. It has nothing to do with COVID.
All right, let's end the show because
Yes.
Let's
For the love of God.
let's do that. My God, making me depressed.
Why? I see it as a positive thing.
Yeah, you and Howard Stern, you won't leave the house at all.
Really, you gotta. Now I'm depressed because you compare me to Howard Stern.
Listen,
All right.
you two are doing the exact same thing.
He lives in.
He lives where? He lives in New York.
Go.
Thank you for joining us for yet another episode of Moviesucktastic, episode 362. It's the second Oscar film, The Power of the Dog. Go to our website at Moviesucktastic.com. Listen or download the show there. You can go to iTunes and you can do the same thing. You can go to our Facebook page at facebook.com/Moviesucktastic. If you want to leave us email, the address is themovieguys@Moviesucktastic.com. If you want to leave us voicemail, it's 908-514-4470. If you would like to download the app to listen to the show, you can go to Moviesucktastic.com/mst.apk, or you can download your favorite app for podcasts and just do a search for Moviesucktastic, and we come right up. Do you have any words of wisdom, Mr. Wilson?
Suck me, Bronco. Huh? What? I'm sorry. Did I say that out loud? What are we doing?
Wait, what? Wow. All right there.
Fuck me, Bronco Henry. Fuck me.
Holy shit. I don't even know how to end this. We'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.